time is limited for 1 hour, that's all.
That should be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, chapter number 3. And we'll start. So this is Brahma, starting from verse number 17. Brahma was approached by Devas because they were very disturbed by the austerities of Hiranyakashipu. Some people take pleasure in disturbing others. It's like some people take pleasure in doing service to others. So there are different variety in this world. Hiranyakashipu is a different type. He has many followers. So Brahma, he came, but he could not see him because he was completely covered in this ant house, termite house, and there was nothing remaining. Everything was eaten up, only the bones. So first he could not locate him. He heard that he is in Mandarachal. Then finally he saw him and he realized that how intense austerity he has performed. So he little bit smiled and then he spoke as follows. Brahma Vacha, Brahma said, Uttishta Uttishta Bhadram te tapa siddho sukashyapa vardoham anuprapto vriyatam ikshito vara. He said that, get up, O Kashyap, son of Kashyap Rishi. You have attained perfection. Means what you wanted to achieve by doing this penance, you will achieve that. Otherwise, what is the meaning of perfection? When you perform some work, you want to get some result from that. So that is the perfection. Any action you do, there is something to be achieved from that. So he says that you have already achieved it. Means Brahma is pleased with him, and therefore he can bless him now. And he says, Vardoha manu prapto vriyatam ipshito vara. So what is the perfection? He says that you have attained me, who is the best of those who give boons. So after all, he was doing it, although we don't understand from the beginning whether he was doing it to please Brahma or his idea was to become more powerful than Brahma. But he was not specifically doing it to please him. Certainly he was not doing to please it to Lord Vishnu because he was against him. So it could be either Lord Shiva or Brahma, one of these two people, because mostly people who are materialistic, they worship Shiva. Brahma usually no one worships in India. So materialistic people are usually worshipping Shiva or Devi, wife of Shiva. And those who have spiritual interest, they worship Krishna or Krishna. So most of the demons, they are devotees of Shiva. So he says that Vardoham Anu Prapto, you have attained me, and now you can ask whatever is in your heart. Adraksham mahametatte hritsaram mahadadbhutam dansha bhakshita dehasya prana hi asti susherate. He says that I have seen your staunch determination. This is most amazing. I've never seen anyone like you, and your body is all eaten up by worms, mosquitoes, ants, and still the life is continuing in the bones. So he was looking very bony, right? So he said that your life, I don't know how the life here will go in the bones, can't even figure it out. Because life here has to have some covering, right? Otherwise it will leak out. Because bones there is nothing to cover. But still he was alive. Where were his senses and how he existed? Cannot imagine. So he says, Netat purvas chakrur nakarishyati chapare nirambur dhariyet pranan kove divya samaha satam. So Brahma, he has a very long life. He has seen many people, many sages in the past doing tapasya. Said that no one has done such type of austerities before. And he says that no one will do it in future. Because he is experienced. He is an old man, he is the oldest. So he has seen so many cycles of creation. So many days have passed. So he says that nobody has done it and he thinks no one else is going to do it in future. He says, how can someone live for 100 years without even drinking water? This is very amazing. Vyavasayena tyanena duskarena manasvinam taponisthena bhavata jito hamditi nandana. He says, I'm actually conquered by you. What you have done. And tatastha asisa sarva dadami asurupangava martyasya te martyasya darshanam napulamam. He actually read this verse yesterday. So he says that I will give you the boon because my darshan cannot go waste. Since you have seen me, you will get some benefit. So Narada was, and now Narada is describing this. He says, Yati tvadi bhavo devo bhakshitangha pipilakai kamandalu jane kshid akshad divye namo radhasa. So after saying this, because still he did not see him, he thought that he will come out. He understood that he is somewhere here and he is calling him. He thought that by now he will come out, but he did not come out, because how can he come out? He has no senses. Probably did not even hear it. So then what he did, that he had his pot, his kamandalu. Brahma carries a kamandalu. In one of his hands he has 4 hands. So from that he took some water and he threw it Hiranyakashipu. So this water in his kamandalu is the Ganges water, because Ganga comes from that. So that's why it is said that Divyena Amogha Radhasa, that water has some strong power. So when he did that, then immediately there was a magic. So Hiranyakashipu, he got all his body perfect. Everything came as usual, as he was. Satat kichaka valmikat sahojo balanvitaha sara avyav sampanno vajra samhanano yuva uttita stapta hema bho vibhava suri vaidhasa. So there were also some bamboo growing around there. So suddenly he appeared from that bamboo and that termite house. And now he had a very beautiful body, young and glowing like gold, because of the effect of this water he threw. So he got very beautiful body. All the limbs were there perfect, and he had physical strength, mental strength, and also yogic powers. So just like the fire emanates from wood, like that he appeared from that suddenly. So Piplikadam Sadhi Bhivitrate Adi Bhava Brahma Amogham Avyartham Rala Samsiddhi Vajrasya Sanghranamangam Dharni. So it says that his body was strong like thunderbolt. Very powerful body he got. So he's already getting his boon. Sanirikshambare Devam Hansavaham Avasthitam Nanama Sirsha Bhumo Taddarshanam Hotsava. So now he came out and he saw Brahma in the sky, who was riding a swan, and after seeing him he felt very happy, and therefore he bowed down to him by touching his head on the ground. Utthaya pranjali prabha ikshmano drusha vibhum harsha shrupalako bhedo giragagadaya granat. So then he stood up and he was joining his palms and in a very humble mood while looking at him. Anyway, when he started doing his tapasya, he was always looking up. So he had no problem in looking up. He was habituated for that. So he was very happy. The hair stood on his end and he had a trembling voice because of too much happiness. He was thinking that he may have to take few births, right? That's what he said, that even if I have to take few births, I want to achieve success in my goal. It happened only in one birth. So he was very happy. So then he started praying to Brahma. So now he is praying to Brahma as if Brahma is Supreme Lord. Brahma is not supreme, but this is the custom in India that whomever they worship, they consider that person as the supreme. And therefore people get confused. They think that in India we believe in many gods. God is only one, but people think that one to be someone else. Somebody thinks Ganesh is God, somebody thinks Brahma is God, somebody thinks Murugan is God, Skandha, someone thinks Mataji is God. Right? So different idea. God is only one. Only thing is that there is confusion about his form. So it's not that in Hinduism is not polytheistic, but different people worship different form of God. So then when they pray to him as if he is the ultimate God. So Hiranyakashipu is also praying to Brahma as if he is the supreme God. He is not supreme God, he is only in charge of creation, and that also secondary creation, not the primary. But out of ignorance people think like. So he says, Kalpante kala srishtena yondhena tam sabritam abhivana jagadidam swam jyoti swarochisha. He says that you are Swam Jyoti, you are self effulgent. In the material world, the objects are not self-luminous. You can only know them by other. They cannot know themselves. The table cannot know itself, right? Otherwise, table could also object, why you are putting so much weight on me. I was not designed to put 2 tons of weight. You can just put 50 kg, not more, right? You can say like that. It does not know itself, so it never objects, even if you break it. So this is those who can know themselves, that is called Swayam Jyoti or self-luminous. So these objects are all parak, they are known by others. So he says that you are self-luminous, means you know yourself, and which means you are not dependent on others. These objects here in the material world, they are meant for someone else. Table is not meant for table, right? Table is not for the sake of table. Table is to be used by some conscious being. If there is no conscious being, the table has no utility, right? Maybe very beautiful, very wonderful, but if there is no conscious being around, then none of these things have any utility, because they are meant only for some conscious being. So Brahma is Swam Jyoti, means he is full of consciousness. Jyoti means light, consciousness. And he says that you manifested this universe by your own light. Swarochisa abhivanak jagadidam. So this universe which we are seeing, it was manifested by Brahma. Manifested means that actually nothing is created. Everything is just a manifestation and unmanifestation. The energy is always there. Changes form. You have seed, it becomes tree, and again it disintegrates. So there is only transformation of matter. It's not created. So when does he do that? He says, Kalpante kala srishtena yon dhenatam savritam. And this goes into the cycles. Everything moves in cycles. In our life also we see this. We experience cycles, right? Day, night. You feel hungry, then you eat. Then you feel hungry again, then you eat, right? So you go into the cycle of eating and hunger. So same, sometimes you are angry, then you are happy, then you are angry, then you are happy. Cycles. Sometimes you are sad, sometimes you are happy. So life always goes in cycles. And the universe also is going in those cycles. It's created, then it exists for some time, then it is destroyed. So that is by the time. So abhivanak yo abhivyaktam akaros. But that manifestation needs some extra effort, right? If the seed is there, then it needs someone to sow it on the ground, some water, some heat, some air, some light, and then it sprouts. So Brahma actually makes the matter manifest in this form, in the form of this energy. That is his job. Like you take some raw materials and you cook food. So you do not create raw material. Raw material is there, you only take it, you mix it. And then you prepare some dosa and chutney. So like that, Brahma does not create the material elements. They exist, he takes them and he mixes them. So when he mixes more fiery element, then he makes sun. He makes more earthly element, he makes earth. So like that he makes oceans, mountains, according to the proportion how he mixes. Basically these three are elements, earth, water and fire. Atmana trivritā chedam srijati avati lumpati rajasatvatamo dhamne paraya mahate namaha. So he says, I bow down to you, you are the great, you are supreme, and you are the abode of tamas, sattva and raja. Means they exist in you. From you they come out, and by yourself, which contains all these three gunas, you create, you protect, and then you destroy. So this is what basically is the world. These three things are happening. Because there are three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. So we create, like we take birth, then you exist, and then you die. Plants also, they sprout, grow, and then they die. The universe also. So why it happens? Because these are the three gunas. In rajas there is creation, in sattva there is maintenance, in tamas it's result. So he says to Brahma that you are doing this. So Trivrit means these three gunas. So Atma, he says Atmana Trivrita. Atma means self. Self does not have the gunas in it. The gunas are outside. But it accepts them. Like we have accepted this body, but we are separate from it. The gunas are not inside our Atma, our self. They are all outside, but we accept it. So like that, he also accepts the three gunas and then creates and maintains. Namadhyaya bijaya jnana vijnana murtaye pranendriya mano buddhi vikare vyaktameyushe. So in these prayers, basically all the time we say, I am bowing, I bow my head to you, you are the original Adya, and Bija, you are the source of the universe, and Gyan Vigyan Murtaye, you are the personification of knowledge, consciousness, awareness. You are the cause of the universe. So Jnanam Gyapti, Jnanam Vishesh Jnanam. Jnana also means consciousness, awareness. Vigyan means experience or special knowledge about something. So all this exists in him. And Prana, Indriya, Mano, Buddhi, Vikare, Vyaktam, Iyushe. So this is how the world is manifested. Many times it is described. But prana refers to the two types of senses, cognitive senses and working senses, because they all work from prana. If there is a disturbance of prana, then our senses don't work. That's why in yoga they say if you do pranayama, you will be healthy. Because the senses are working on the prana. And then manasya, buddhisya, vikarasya, prithvi adi. So there is mind, there is intelligence, there is ego, and there are 10 senses. And vikara means the 5 elements of sky, air, fire, water and earth. So these are all manifested by Brahma, and then through this all the objects come into existence. Tvamishise jagatastastascha pranena mukhyena pati prajanam chittasya chittayarmana indriyanam patirmahan bhutaganas. So he says that you are the controller of everything. And then you have the Mukhya Prana, Mukhya prana is a very important word in Madhava Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, right?
I don't know.
You don't know? So Mukhya prana is there, the real thing. So he says that you are the Niyanta, you are the controller, Ishisha, and everything is supported by you, whether it is moving or not moving. Jagtastastasya pranena mukhyena. Mukhya prana is also translated as Sutratma. And Pati Prajanam, you are the Lord of all beings, Chittasya Chitta, and you are the source of consciousness in the Chitta. So consciousness comes into the Chitta first, and from there it goes to the ego, then to the mind, then to senses, and then in the body. That's how the consciousness spreads. So Indriyanam Patir Mahan Bhut Ganashe, and you are the master of all the Bhut Ganas. Or it says Bhut Gunanam, some different reading. So Ishisha means Niyanta, controller. So how is the control done? By prana. Because prana is the one which is controlling everything. And we have no control over it except if you do pranayama. So prana is coming and going in, right? But we are not controlling it. Except when you do pranayama, then you try to control it. Little bit. Otherwise you sleep, still prana is going on. If we have to control prana, then we will not be able to sleep, because you cannot do these two things together. So it is good that we are not controlling it. Suppose you have to actually control your breathing, then it will be difficult to sleep, because as soon as you sleep, then the prana slips, then you will never come out from your sleep. So he says that Mukhyena pranena sutratma rupena, that he is controlling, everything is controlled by prana. And for Lord, he keeps the control in his hand. Just stop the prana, everybody dies. Because you have no way. Sometimes people cannot breathe. They get asthma, right? You cannot breathe, what do? The air is not coming. Finished. Atastvam prajanam pati. So therefore he says that you are the master of all living beings. Because everybody lives on prana. As long as prana is there, then there is some movement in the body. No prana, no movement. Tasam chittesasya chittescha tatparinam bhutaya chetnaya. So you are the chittasya chitte. So chitta means the heart, and in that there is chitti, the consciousness. So it is called chitta. So that Chetana, or consciousness in the heart, comes from Chittesh, from the Lord. And then Manasasya Tanniyamya Nam Indriyanam Cha Pati. You are also the master of mind. And then also the senses. Tasam Mahabhutanam, and the five elements. Tadgunanam, Ashayanam, Tadvasnanam. And then inside the chitta there are vasanas. Vasanas means the old samskaras, the impressions from our previous experiences, which are giving us desires or influencing our behavior, why people behave differently, because Everybody has got a different software inside them. So that's what moves your computer. Tvam saptantun vitanosi tanva traya chaturhotra vidya cha tvameka atma atmavata manadir anantapara kavirantaratma. This is something about yagyas. So Brahma, because Brahma is the one who has the knowledge of the Vedas, that's why he has 4 heads, because there are 4 Vedas. So he teaches from all the 4 heads simultaneously. And Veda is predominantly speaking about the yagyas, karma kanda, 96% karma kanda, 4% jnana kanda. So the saptatantun means there is yagyas which are described there. It says Tvam saptatantun vitanoshi. You are the one, you propagate the yagyas, because he had all his sons, Marichi, Vasishtha, Atri. So all these children, they are very expert in doing yajna. All of them. So they have learned it from their father and then they propagate. Because life is meant for yajna. If you don't do yajna in your life, then Krishna says, Mogham Partha Sajivati. That such a person is living in vain, uselessly. Evam pravartitam chakra nanuvartyati amo aghayurindriya ramo mogham partha sajivati. So if one is just living for the aram of the senses, just for the pleasure of the senses and not doing any sacrifice, life is meant for sacrifice. So if you don't do any sacrifice, then life is called waste. Mogham partha sajivati. So therefore Brahma, because he is the master of living beings, from the very beginning he propagated the yajna. He taught to his children, then they taught to their children, and this is how the parampara came. So Krishna also says that Sahayagya Prajasrishtva Purovach Prajapati. That in the beginning, Prajapati, what he did, Sahayagya Purasrishtva. That he created living beings and along with them he created the sacrifices. And he says that you live with this, which means you have to live in the nature and also give back to the nature, because we are taking from the nature. All our needs are being supplied by the nature. Even if you modify them in your factory or industry, the raw material is coming from the nature. So yajna means giving back to the nature so that a balance is maintained. If you keep on taking, then you create imbalance. So then you get environmental problems. So for that reason Krishna says that I have made this chakra, this cycle, evam pravartitam chakram. So that if balance is maintained, then life can continue. But if you create imbalance, then what will happen? Some problem will come. Then you will not have supply. Then you have to devise chemicals, put fertilizer so that you can get more produce. Otherwise there was enough food coming before without fertilizers. But now we think that without fertilizers we cannot get enough food because there is so much population. So you become conditioned to think like that. So he says, Tanva Traya Chatur Hotraka Vidyacha. So he says by Traya means the 3 Vedas. He has spread This is like his own body. And Chaturhotra, there are 4 priests, Hota, Udgata, Brahma, Adhvaryu. So through them he performed the yajna. This knowledge is given by him. Tvameka Atma Atvatam Anadirananta Pare Kaviranta Atma. He says, you are the Atma, you are the self. Everybody, you are unlimited and Ananta. Ananta Pare. So commentary says, Tvameva Saptatantun Agnistomadi Yagyan. So you see, these are various yajnas, Agnihotra, Chaturmasya, Dars, Purnas. These are the various types of yajnas, Swami yajna. Trayi Vedatrayam, Tadrupaya Tanuva. So the body in the form of the 3 Vedas. Then Hota, Srota, Udgata, Adhvaryu, Brahma. These are the priests. Yatra Chatur Hotrakam Karmam Tadvishya Vidyacha, and the knowledge about it, how to do it. Atmatam Dehinam Atma Jiva Antaratma Antaryami. So you are the immanent being of all living beings, and you propagate this knowledge. So that was the olden time. People used to do that. Now it's the last. Tvameva kalo animisho jananam ayurlavadya vyavaichinosi kutastha atma parmestyajo mahan tam jivalokasya cha jiva atma. So he says that you are the time. So time is a very interesting thing, difficult to define. And time has various divisions. That's how we know in our daily usage. We have seconds, minutes, hours, days, fortnights, months, years, so on. So he says, Kalo animisho jananam ayur lavadi avyavekshinosi. So you are taking away the life of everybody through these parts in the form of lava. Lava is the smallest unit of time. So everybody is under the influence of time, but you yourself are animisha, which actually signifies that you don't fall under the influence of time. And then what do? He says you are nirvikar, kutastha. Because time is influencing matter. Matter is not kutastha. Kutastha means unchanging. But it says that Brahma himself is unchanging and he is Atma. He is Paramesti, the Supreme, unborn, Mahan, great, and Jivlokasya cha Jiva Atma, you are the life of all living beings and their inner self. So this is superimposing some qualities of the Lord onto Brahma. Kutastha nirvikarattvena kalavyapi atma antaryami. जीवलोकस्य जीववत् शरीरस्य जीवाख्यात्मा पुरुषलोके कर्म प्रयोज्यत्व प्रयोजकत्वाभ्याम कर्मणाम आत्मत्व परमात्मत्व उक्ते अतृत्वन्यसाम सर्वेषाम. So in the previous sloka there was talk about what is needed for karma to execute duties here in the material world, and now in this he is talking about what is beyond that. So this is in the Vedic process that you engage in karma, and then By performing karma, you come and become situated in knowledge. Sarva karma khila partha jnane parisamapyate. So in the previous verse he spoke about karma, and this verse he is talking about the jnana. By participating in karma, one will come to realize this, and then one will move from karma yoga to jnana yoga, and then become liberated. So tvatta param na param anejadejadcha kinchid व्यतिरिक्तम अस्ति विद्या कलास्ते तन्वश्च सर्वा हिरण्यगर्भोऽसि बृहत् त्रिपृष्ठ. So he says that I do not know anyone who is beyond you. There is nothing which is besides you. Vyatiriktam asti. Kinchid vyatiriktam asti means everything is within you. And vidya kalastai tanvasya sarva. All knowledge, all arts, they are a part of your body. And sarva hiranyagarbhosi brihatriprishta. And you are beyond the three gunas. And this universe is in your womb. That's why Brahma is called Hiranyagarbha.
In the womb.
Inside Brahma's. Hiranyagarbhosi. Because this universe is also seen like a golden egg. That is also a form of Brahma. One is the four-headed Brahma, and that is the golden egg Brahma. So universe is inside that. So that is called Hiranyagarbha.
At what stage is the universe in the egg form?
What stage?
Yeah, is it manifest, unmanifest?
No, inside egg you cannot see it. But then inside egg he creates all this 14 planetary system. That egg is unmanifest to us. That is the Adhidaivik form of Brahma. What you see four-headed is the Adhibhautik form. So he is speaking about the Adhidaivik. So that is very shiny, because Deva means shiny, right? Divine. Divine people are shown like with a light effulgence around their head. So this is the Adhidaivik form. Tvattaha param karanam prakrityadi rupam aparam karyam mahadadi rupam ejat chetanam anejat achetanam cha vitiriktam nasti. So there is nothing which is beyond you, whether cause or effect, movable or immovable. Everything is within you. Vedop vedadi vidyasthanani kalascha tanmatam. And all the various types of knowledge. Sometimes there are 18 types of vidya. That's why Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. And then there are 64 arts. So they all exist in Brahma, because he is the knower of the Vedas, and Veda contain all this. Tav tanva hiranya rupam brahmandam garbhayasya. This Brahmanda, this universe which is in the form of an egg, is inside him. Se brihat brahmaiva asi tranam gunanam prishthe partastitvat triprishta. And because you are situated on the back of the three gunas, means you are having a ride on them. So that means you are above them. That is the meaning of triprishta. So let's do one more verse. Then his prayer almost come to an end. There is nothing much in this. After all,
I mean, after all, it's just going to tell us this is Hiranyakashipu, the Lord Brahma, so what do we care?
that's all I'm saying. Not so important in prayers of Hiranyakashipu. So, Vyaktam Vibho Sthulam Idam Shariram. But important thing is that if you want favor from somebody, this is what you have to do. That's what you have to learn from Hiranyakashipu. Two things. One is his determination, and another is he's also humble. Although he wants to be the supreme, but in front of Brahma he is humble.
For a purpose is humble.
Right. So if you want some of your job to be done, you want a favor, then better be humble.
Kushamad karne chanda. You have to know how to do kushamad.
Right. You have to make the person khush. That's why it's called kushamad. So vyaktam vibho sthulam idam shariram yenendriya prana mano gunastvam bhungshe stito dhamani parameshthe avyaktatma purushat purana. So that in the previous verse he spoke about the unmanifest form, this Brahmanda, this universal egg. And now he is speaking about the manifest. So the one which we see, this is the manifest universe.
And it's still within the golden egg.
Hmm?
The manifest is still within the egg.
Right.
Okay.
It cannot go anywhere.
Yeah.
So Vyaktam Vibho Sthulamidam. He says this is the gross form. That was the stall form. And this is also Brahma's body. Yenendriya Prana Mano Gunastam. So you have manifested this and then you are enjoying the senses, life, your mind, etc. Bhunksha, you relish this, you are eating it. And Sthito Adhamani Paramishta, but you are always situated in your own abode, which is very opulent. Avyaktatma Purusha Purana. You are Purana Purusha, you are the oldest person, and you are beyond gross and subtle, therefore you are Avyaktatma. Vyaktam Viraj Rupam Tav Sthulam. So this is the universal form which is described, we studied in the second canto of Bhagavatam. Yena sarirena tvam indriya pranamansam gunhan vishyan bhunkshe. By this body you, because to enjoy you need a body, right? If you don't have a body, then you cannot eat, you cannot listen to music, cannot talk, cannot do anything. Just like ghosts, they don't have a body, so then they have to get into someone else's body to eat or to fulfill their desire. So Brahma has this universe as his body. So this universe is also a body. It's also a living being. It's like we have our body, universe is also a body. And everything which is in the universe is also in your body. Same things in minute form.
So that statement is very common in Tantra and Yoga. So that's something that the devotees can agree with the yogis. So
Yeah.
that yadasti bhanda tadasti bhanda.
Yes. Yat yatande tat tat pinde.
What do you mean that Brahma, the universe is within Lord Brahma's body?
The universe is his body.
Is his body?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is his gross body. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is one way to look at him. He's also separate from this.
Yes. Okay, so he's still separate.
He also lives in the universe, but it's also his body. can be seen.
As an extension of his body, or it is his
No,
body?
this is one form of him. It's Virat Purusha. This.
Okay.
Like we also said, this is the form of Krishna or God, the universal form. Here he's saying Brahma's form. But Brahma is also name of Krishna.
So, avatar.
Mm.
Good avatar.
He's also good avatar.
So then is Krishna's form.
So Parameshthe Parameshware Dhamni Swarupa Sthite Vidhungshe. So what he enjoys by remaining situated in his own abode, it also means in his own Swarupa, in his own form. Natu Swarup Tirodhanene. Not that you lose yourself. When we enjoy, we become forgetful of ourselves. Atastvam avyakto brahma atma antaryami puran purusho bhagavans. Therefore you are the super soul, you are the supreme Lord, you are the manifest, the atma. Because he is seeing Brahma as God. So I'll stop here because there is another class after this. Anybody wants to attend that?
What is it?
Bhagavatam.
Another Bhagavatam class? Where is that?
Oh, this is on the Skype.
On Skype. Where are you going in that one?
I'm just reading the first verse, Vallabhacharya's commentary, Subodhani.
Should I close it?
Yeah.